Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Somed Mondal. I am a commercial property buyer's agent of Emlina Commercial, and more importantly, I bought $30 million worth of commercial property in the last 6 months. I became financially independent through commercial property investing, and I came to Australia 2014 and 2023 I became financially independent. So in this video, I am going to share with you that one thing that you need to understand about lease terms, and more importantly, what does it mean from a landlord point of view on that lease terms. So if you want to know, then stick around. Commercial lease. Now let's understand, whenever you are providing a lease to your tenant, you are a landlord and you would give the lease terms, the number of years that lease is going to be in place. Now a common thing, if it is a retail lease, is 3:3:3, or if it is a industrial property, it could be 5+5, or if it is a specialized property, it could be like 15+10. Means 3:3:3 means 3 years initial lease, and then the tenant will have an option to take whether they are going to stay for the 3 years, and similarly another for the 3 years. So every 3 years tenant will have a say that whether they're going to continue for next 3 years. So it's not the landlord, it's the tenant who actually defines that. So that's called options, right? So 3:3:3 or 5+5 and 15+10. Now in this example, I'm going to give you what does the lease term 5 years means, because if it is 3 years or 2 years, that is on the lower side, and if it is 15 years or 10 years, so that's on the higher side. But a sweet spot is 5 years, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if a tenant is signing a 5 years lease, now 5 years is such a long time, it feels like they are planning to stay or establish their business and they want to stay for long term, because nobody is going to fiddle with, oh, let's try it out, what happens, let's see if I can do the business. No, with 5 years lease term, then they will do a 2 years or 3 years lease term. They are not going to do the 5 years. At the same time, if you do the like 10 or 15 years, that is such a long term, because if the market moves significantly high, you might not get the best rent. Because when you sign a 10 years lease or 15 years lease, and every year, let's say it's only going up 3 to 4%, and if the market moves like 5-7% year on year basis, then your rent is going to be lower than the market rate. So that is what the 5 years is a sweet spot. Now let's look into this from the tenant point of view. Tenant is signing a 5 years lease. For sure they are saying to themselves that, hey, I need to pay the rent for next 5 years, and I'm signing this lease. That means I want to establish the business, so let's make money. They want to make money, which in fact says that signing a 5 years lease means they are planning in that place for long term, because they're not thinking about just 5 years. They're thinking about maybe after 5 years also I will take another option. So 5+5 is where the lease term is very sophisticated. 3+3 is still a little bit of risk, whereas 10 or 15 years is zero risk or very low risk, but at the same time you need to understand that you are tied up with next 10 to 15 years. Now it depends on properties as well, but I'm giving you the thought process that why 5+5 or 5 years lease is a significant part for you as a landlord. The question that will come, okay, what if they sign the 10 years lease and they just move out? Like this, do this in 1 year, they move out. Now you can protect that. They just simply cannot move out. They might have to pay the whole 5 years worth of rent if they just move out like that. And how do you protect? The number one protection is that you put a bond or bank guarantee. And that bond and bank guarantee cannot be like just 2 weeks or 4 weeks of rent. You could charge 6 months or 12 months of advance rent as a bond or a bank guarantee. That means you are protecting them like 12 months. If they stop being defaulted, you can call that bond on the bank guarantee and put it in your rent and make sure that it is working in your favor. That's number one. Number two is the guarantor. It could be a corporate guarantor or it could be a personal guarantee of the director. So you can call that person in there. You can go after their personal asset to get those rent. So 5 years is getting protected with these multiple layers. But also, let's not understand that business itself. So if they have other branches, they have some value in the business, you can go after that business as well. Fourth one, of course, the insurance, which is the last thing that you're going to call in case all these things fails. Now let's understand this point very importantly. Let's say you as a tenant, you are signing a 5 years lease. You are telling yourself you want to stay there for long term. So you will try your utmost effort to make money in that business. And that is one of the point I want want you to highlight that tenant will have the skin in the game. Tenant will try their utmost to make money because they have to pay the rent. As a landlord, you will collect the rent. It is not the case with residential property. Residential property tenant, they are not trying hard to pay the rent. They just like at some means they have to, and the moment they decide either their circumstances changes, they start earning more or they start earning less, either way they will move out. If they are earning less in a residential property, they cannot afford, they will just move out. If they make more money, then they will buy their own home, they will move out. That is not the case in commercial property. So 5 years lease terms is an important factor, and I want you to understand, so whenever you are providing a lease, always offer them 5 years lease. And for that, if even though you have to give some tenant incentives initially, it's better to have a 5 years lease. Then you are binding the tenant for a long term, as I explained, so you can have a longer cash flow and a continuous cash flow. I hope you find these videos helpful and kind of an understanding how this lease terms works, and more importantly why 5 years is a sweet spot for your property or for your tenancy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.